Hey there, it's John. Here it's John Barry. So, it's been about 3 weeks since the new Godzilla movie came out, and I know it's kind of late, but now's about the time to give my opinions. I watched it 3 times, and so yeah. So, what do I think? Well, I like it a lot, a lot. So you guys might say, "Oh man, you were just a biased. You are a Godzilla fanboy." Well, yes, I am, but that doesn't matter. I could say the same thing about all these people who love all the Marvel or DC or just hero comic book fanboys too. Same thing. You're just biased because you're a fanboy. So, basically, that doesn't matter. Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on. So, just from how the movie is shot, I think that the director is, a confirmed Godzilla fan as well. Because if you just look at how he does a lot of the shots, he frame it, it is a lot similar to how the Showa and the Heisei Godzilla films were made. For example, there's this rising shot from the ocean where you see Godzilla rises from there before and the song's playing. And yeah, it's pretty epic. The Showa and the Heisei Godzilla, they did that a lot, either at the beginning or right in the middle, where Godzilla just comes right out of the water. It's pretty goddamn amazing, basically. So yeah, I think he really does do Godzilla justice. So now that we got that out of the way, let's actually talk about the movie. So first off, the characters. You basically know everything that all the characters want to do. You know their motivations and their goals. Everything's laid out pretty easily and identifiable. Yeah, some people might think is kind of dull or stuff like that. They are serviceable. They get the plot moving. That's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, people say it's dull, but whatever, man. I mean, we don't need to know about the character's whole backstory. We don't need to spend 10 minutes about a guy just talking about what made him do this thing. We don't need to see them just there espousing out their tragic backstory or whatever. Just give us your motivation, your goals, and move on. And that's what the characters do, and they do a pretty decent job at it. For example, one of the main bad guys, or the girls in this case, which is Dr. Emma, forgot her last name, but whatever. People say that her goals are kind of dumb. Her motivation and goals are dumb. Basically, she wants to release the monsters to kill everybody on Earth, all the humans at least. People say that's dumb. That's a dumb thing. And yeah, I say it's cheesy and it's kind of dumb if you look at it, but it's serviceable to the plot and it moves the plot along. There are plenty of other dumbass plot lines, like for example, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but the stupid fucking Infinity Gauntlet and the fucking all those past Infinity Stones. Why the fuck would you kill half of the known universe? You could just make more. You have the Reality Stone. You can warp reality. So yeah, that's just kind of dumb. So here, at least it's not that dumb. Not as dumb as that when you have a fucking basically the wish granting OP power device and you use it to kill everybody when you could have put it to a different way instead. Here, she wants to kill everybody because there are observable effects of human on the Earth, where there's a whole bunch of hurricanes and tornadoes and all these natural disasters, partly caused by humans and what we do. So basically, she's saying, I want to kill. At first, she wants to kill Godzilla because Godzilla killed her son in the first movie from like buildings collapsing, whatever. Yeah, she wants to kill Godzilla, but then she learns that Godzilla is actually the rightful owner of this Earth, and there's no why would you kill Godzilla when this Earth belonged to Godzilla? So she basically acts as the main villain to kind of balance the Earth or rebalance it so that humans stop, destroying the Earth, diminish their population, kind of like Malthusian theories on overpopulation. I know that there are some people who believe that in real life too, so yeah, you might call them crazy, but at least it exists. People who think that that's a good idea, so this is plausible if Godzilla and them were real. My favorite character is the guy that Ken Watanabe plays, Dr. Ishiro Serizawa. I mean, just the acting is really good, and also, like I said before, how the characters don't need to sit there for like 10 minutes talking about the backstory or whatever. Here, you don't know like the actual details of his backstory either, but just by the clues of how he's acting, like how the actor is acting or portraying the character, and also the ticks that he do or stuff like that, it shows that he has, a pretty tragic backstory. And also, one of my favorite scenes is when he pats Godzilla and basically says, "Or goodbye, my friend." I mean, come on, that's just a pretty dang sweet movie scene right there. These other monsters, and that's the plot. As a side note, I hate how there's a whole bunch of people online who are saying that, "Oh, Godzilla should just be 2 hours of Godzilla fighting all the monsters." I mean, dude, come on. That's the same thing as saying one and Avengers Endgame should just be 2 hours of fighting Thanos or whatever the fuck, hopping through reality and fighting Thanos all over and over and over again. You know, it's the same thing here. Yeah, it's an action movie, but action movie is not like does not mean only 2 hours of action. You want to see a montage of Godzilla fighting? There's YouTube for that. The core tenets of Godzilla is not about the monster. It's a reflection of humanity, you know? So, like, yeah, the humans, they often take a backseat to it, but then Godzilla itself is a representative of humanity as a whole. And either their struggles or the horrors of humanity or stuff like that. There's a lot of things, but basically is Godzilla represents humanity. The humans that are running around the ground doing their own plots, that also has something to say. So, point is, people need to shut up about that. Godzilla is not about just actions. It's about like action scenes. It's about humans in general. So on to what I like about the movie. So one thing that I really like is the direction that the director went about when showcasing the monsters. He shows the monsters that there's some sort of divine aura to them. It's like it's something that you can't really see, but then it just feels from how the people react or their demeanor or stuff like that. So basically, all the monsters that are present in this film, they give this majestic aura to them. But especially Mothra, though, just kind of like how the older films, Mothra is like the only one that's definitively good and also definitively like godly, I wouldn't say, but then like has a divine thing to it. And that just makes it even more apparent in this movie. So I really like that. Another thing I really like is that they use the original theme songs of both Godzilla and Mothra. Yeah, sure, they made a more modern rendition, but it's still the same song. I'm like, that is fucking amazing. Finally, it's about time. Like when Godzilla Rises, they play Godzilla's theme song. When King Ghidorah's whooping ass on the city and Godzilla and Mothra approach, they play their theme songs too. That was pretty damn good. The originals were pretty good too, but then this, these remixes makes it really bombastic. Overall, the soundtrack of the entire movie is actually pretty bombastic itself. So, one thing that I don't like about this film is that the director cuts between the fights too many times. He shifts the perspective. Like Godzilla and King Ghidorah will be fighting for like a few seconds, and then they shift to just people running around being panicked, and then shift back, and basically they shift back and forth too many times. And yeah, I get it. It's for its perspective and all that stuff to make everything seem a lot grander, and how humans are basically just the spot. Like even though humans are just the bystanders, they're not getting out of this scot free. I get it. It's supposed to basically says that Godzilla is the ruler of this Earth in this universe, basically. But I mean, why couldn't they just do it like in Godzilla 2014? Like if it's in the middle, then yeah, you're shifting perspective. That's fine, whatever. But towards the end, just let the action scene flow. Just let them fight. Zoom back and let them fight. It's kind of like what they did in 2014. In the middle or in the almost towards the end, you see them fighting, and then they'll cut to the humans, and then cut back to the fighting. But towards the end, when the ultimate fight is just Godzilla versus the two Mutos, you just see them fighting, and that's it. So I mean, why couldn't they do that with this film? Another thing I don't like is how they dealt with the oxygen destroyer. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a cameo, and for Godzilla fans of of the very first film, because that's basically the only place that got the oxygen destroyer appeared. So yeah, it's like a treat for the fans of the original Godzilla, and it's pretty damn cool to see in this film. But they could have treated it way better. I mean, in the film, basically you just see a random general or whatever saying, "Hey, I have a new weapon, and it's called the Oxygen Destroyer," and then cuts, and they just blow up Godzilla and then fight. I'm like, come on, you could have dealt with it better, or yeah, basically they could have dealt with it better, or save it, save it for later film, because that's like the ultimate weapon in the original Godzilla universe. So, in conclusion, like I said, overall, I like it. I think it's actually a pretty good film. You can clearly see the director's love for Godzilla through his cinematography and how he directs it. The plot is also serviceable, and people say some of the characters are dull. I have seen worse in the Godzilla franchise. For example, in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the first one, the people are fucking dull as fuck. Godzilla vs. Gigan, the people are boring. So yeah, they are much worse out there. So in comparison, this one is actually not that bad. It's actually pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I like it. Overall, I give it a 7 out of 10. And personally, I think this is pretty much the best Godzilla film that Hollywood would ever be able to make. That's just how I think it is, because it actually captures all the eras of Godzilla, from the Showa to the Heisei to the post 2005, whatever ish. They captured all that and put it into one film. Pretty damn good. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Take care.